Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be showcasing the Tier 9 Swedish Tech Tree Heavy, the Emil 2. This vehicle is potentially one of the best in Tier 9 after the latest rebalance of equipment. And that is because when running Enhanced Armor, which now gives you 4% additional armor, and with the addition of calibrated shells now giving you less effective penetration, the Emil 2's armor has become substantially better. See, the Emil 2's armor has always been decent. People have always tried to say, oh, it's not that strong because you can cut through it with premium, but that's just because penetration was so ridiculously crazy. But now that Cali's been nerfed, you're going to need about 350 millimeters to cut through the Emil 2 on flat ground. Now, most heavies, for example, only have about 340 mils of heat. The M6 Show, when running Cali, has 342 millimeters, and that ranks it the 18th best heat pen out of the 38 heavies, which means that a substantial amount of heavies in Tier 10 are not able to cut through the Emil 2 even on flat ground. You add gun depression in, which this tank has 9 degrees of, and you're not really going to be able to do much to haul down Emil 2 unless you have APCR premium. The point being, yeah, this tank is pretty crazy when it comes to the armor department. And it's not just armor. It's also the gun. This tank features a 3-shell 400 alpha auto-reloader, which is capable of dealing 1200 damage in 7 seconds. Sure, it's not as fast as the Kron, but, it is faster than the Kron, the single-shot reload. See, the Kron is 2,600 DPM, but you only get that DPM if you're shooting the first out of 3 shells, and you're not dumping into the clip. This vehicle, you can dump all 3 shells, and then shoot single shot, and you'll actually gain damage per minute. In fact, you'll have a 2-second faster reload than the Kron on its single shot if it were to dump its clip. In other words, you have more effective DPM in dumping your clip than a Kron. You have pretty good turret armor, enough that even Tier 10s are going to struggle to cut through you. You have reticle Cali. You have a 20 km/h reverse, which is even faster than the Kron's 18. And when you add all that together, this tank is ridiculous. I mean, in this game alone, I'm already up to 3,400 damage, and all that's left is the enemy Progetto and the Indian Panzer. So I'm going to roll around the corner. I'm going to wait just a few more seconds. 3, 2, 1, boom. Take the Prog out of the game, and I was hoping maybe, just maybe, I'd be able to get the Indian Panzer. However, that player is going to run away, and they're going to die. So at this point, we finish the game with 3,622 damage, 1,380 blocked, and even a little bit assisted. And this wasn't even that special of a battle. This is kind of your average game. What is a Tier 8 supposed to do when you can literally kill them almost full health if they're a medium or a light tank? And even if it's a heavy, 1,200 damage is enough to take off about 65% of a heavy tank's hit point pool, and then you just reload a shell or two, and boom, that full health heavy is now immediately out of the game. Don't believe me? Well, this game on Yamato Harbor, I'm platooning with Wallet, and we are both running double Emil 2s. Up against us, we have a 4.52, 7.52, BZ68, T30, oof, those are all really dangerous Tier 9s, and even the Tier 8s, the Tiger 2, Progetto, SU-130, their whole lineup is very dangerous vehicles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to the ramps in front of me, and we are hopefully going to be able to get somebody caught out in the crossing. So let's keep going, looking at my tune mate, and there you go. We got the 4.52. I load a reticle Cali shot into the track wheel, locking the 4.52 in the open. Now, my tune mate and I are just going to continue shooting the 4.52, and that's it. Full health tank gone. I did 1,000 damage. My tune mate did about 800 damage. That's 1,800 health, and then some of our TDs finished him off. The point being, that is an insane amount of damage. Just in the first 50 seconds of this game, I've already managed to output 1,500. And it's such a good example of how DPM is subjective. There are people out there who will tell you the only tanks that are good are the tanks that have the most DPM. But the reality of the situation is the best tanks are the ones that are able to output their damage as fast and quickly as possible. That is why vehicles like the Kame I've really been enjoying, because they just have such a dangerous clip. And this vehicle is the exact same way. We're up to 2,200 damage now, and we've had a pretty good start to this game. But we're not done. There's still a fairly healthy 7.52. They still have a fairly healthy BZ68, and we are almost up to 3K. One more penetration, and that's all we need. So let's get this gun reloaded. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got the 7.52. Nice shot right into the hatch. You can notice I loaded gold there, and I couldn't pen the 7.52 anywhere on the turret. And that's because after these latest rebalances, yeah, it's much harder to cut through enemies. You actually have to go for weak points. But thankfully, we were able to cut right through the weak point. So we're now up to 3,300 damage. I am going to put on my speed boost because I want to try and get there before my teammates, and they all literally just drive into a wall and get stuck onto each other. Like, what is going on behind me? So we get a nice shell into the BZ, and now you can see I get stuck on my teammates. I was like, what in the heck is going on? But I'm going to let my teammates take out the BZ-68, and now I'm going to head over towards the Progetto and hopefully the SU-130. Well, we get shot by the SU. I'm not able to hit them because that container was in the way, but that's fine because we're reloading our shells anyway. I'm going to put on my reticle Cali, shoot him right on the move, and that shell goes exactly where I was aiming. That was like a 1 in 100 shot there. Okay, well, all that's left is the Prog. Am I going to be able to get any damage into that player? That is the question. Well, we've spotted them, but unfortunately, they're going to back into cover. And because we are detected, that Prog is probably going to stay out of my way. So I'm just going to keep heading over there. Because the Emil 2 only has a top speed of 30, it does take a while to get into position, as you can see. And I'm just going as quick as I can. My teammate gets one shell in, and I managed to get a 366, and he gets the clear. 4,238 damage, 2 kills, and once again, just a pretty brain-dead battle. The fact that I was able to literally full health clear that 452 by tracking, and then clipping with my teammate, it just shows how stupid this tank is. And the thing is, there's basically no other tanks in Tier 9 that have this ability. I mean, sure, there are some tanks in Tier 9 with pretty dangerous clips. The AMX 5120 is a good example, featuring a 380 damage, 2.7 second intra-clip gun. But the problem with the 5120 is that it doesn't have gun depression, it has absolutely no armor, it's also not an auto-reloader. This vehicle has all of those advantages. You even have more health. So while you might not have mobility, it's just the fact that you can actually frontline in a tank like this. You can play hull down, and when you're fighting against tier 8s like these 3 games we have here, what are you going to do? I mean, seriously, what is a tier 8? Let's look at the enemy lineup. They got a BZ-166. It does 400 damage. So already, not only do I have more pen, but I literally evenly trade with that tank. But then you pair that with the fact that I have more DPM on my single shot than a BZ-166, plus 3 free shells. What's that player going to do? I can take off 2/3 of their health just by dumping my clip, and I'll still out-reload them. It's a little silly. So let's move, and we'll see what we can do. I'm going to put on my reticle Cali. It's always nice to have as much of an accurate shot as you can. And I was just pre-aiming it because I was like, well, maybe somebody's going to poke the corner. It's pretty common for people to poke that spot, but nothing dead. So let's move up a little bit more. And I didn't get spotted at all yet. There you go. We got the enemy Tornvon. And wow. Well, that's my luck in a nutshell right there. Let's try again. One easy shell into the Tornvon lower plate. My teammate shoots him. I shoot him. And here we go. Boom. Full health Tornvon cleared from my teammate and I. If I did not miss that first shell, he would have died even faster. But again, that is what you can do in this tier 9 heavy. It is insane. The fact that you're able to output that much damage. It's just crazy. We've already gotten 2 shells loaded again, and my teammate is also reloading their shells, which means that we are able to output another 2,400 damage. So it doesn't matter what tank rolls around the corner, it's able to be full cleared. And I'm going to aim it on the enemy Vipera, get a nice 395, back into cover again, okay. The last thing I want to do is dump my clip. So I'm going to shoot on single shot here. That way, I can just keep shooting and reloading without getting caught. So I'm going to try and bait. Let's see, can I bait the BZ? Got the Vipera up top. My teammate makes an aggressive play, so I'm going to try and help. And here we go. I track the BZ and take 400 off. I track the BZ again. Another 455. And I track the BZ one more time, taking another 400 hit points off, and my teammate gets the clear. Unfortunately, he bled a lot of health by the Vipera shooting him, so that's not great. I said, I'm going to try and sit here and hold them off for you so that you can survive. I get a nice shell into the enemy Vipera. That brings that player down to a 2-shot for me now, and I'm still pretty healthy. And watch this reverse speed. I put on my speed boost. I'm reversing at 28 kilometers per hour. That is wild what you can do. So we shoot him, we back up. He doesn't even have the opportunity to hit me in return. We're up to 3,300 damage now. And yeah, their team is not doing all too fancy. Okay, let's aim it on the 752. There you go. Nice 319 into the hatch. Loaded gold just to guarantee the pen. Unfortunately, the enemy WZ-132 flanks to the rear and is able to clear my teammate. At this point, I was thinking, okay, well, obviously the WZ is probably flanking, and if that's the case, I'm going to just sit here and make sure they can't poke me. I don't want to waste my shells just yet. I want to wait for my full clip, so we're going to wait just a few seconds longer. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Okay, we got our shells. I get a nice shot into the WZ with my reticle Cali active, and now I'm going to just push this player. I'm going to wait for my shell to reload. I've got to wait 6 more seconds, and once I get this shell, I can full health clear this entire tier 9 light. So there you go. I tracked them. I was specifically aiming for the tracks. They couldn't get around me. There's a second shell into them, and now we're going to reload. 3, 2, 1, boom. And there you go. 5,213 damage, and one of the freest games. This, again, really illustrates why the Emil 2 is so dangerous. It's the fact that you have this auto-reloading gun, you have really good armor, and even though the mobility isn't the best, because you get super speed boost and really good reverse speed, it's not that big of a problem. So I probably could have shot that a little sooner, but I don't know. I always like to aim in my shots. Either way, let's take a look at the post-game results for this Tier 9. What I can tell anybody is that if you're thinking of grinding the Cron, it is easily one of the most enjoyable grinds that you can have in the game. I mean, we didn't even ace it with that game, which is pretty insane. But yeah, I mean, my statistics in the Emil 2 alone should really tell you what I think about the tank. 81%, 3,250 average. That's more average damage than people go in Tier 10, even very, very skilled players. So it really shows just how capable this tank is, even at Tier 9. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more in the future, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.